Hey guys, it's Sutton with LA Capa Customs, and today we have a huge aftermarket build here. I'm going to call it the Poison Zanshin build, which is the Poison slide with a bunch of the 9-ball color shifting parts. Let's get into it. So guys, for this build, it's going to be a lot like the others, but I think I'm going to try to cut it up a little bit more, make it a little bit more condensed. So first off, let's open this beautiful Poison slide. Really good packaging here. I mean, look at how cool this thing looks. Serial marking is number 22, which is my personal favorite number. So this build I think is going to be for me. May do a pre-build. I haven't decided yet. Again, I just build them and then kind of want to keep them for myself, but we will see here. I don't get to sit down and build builds very often, so when I do, I really enjoy the process and like showing you guys on YouTube. But we have a great team of builders that build for us as well. So the slide is unboxed here. I'll get all these pieces unboxed really quick and then we'll be right back. And guys, for this build we are actually doing a completely aftermarket upper. So this whole upper can just go away. So we're doing a completely aftermarket upper. This Poison slide comes with a really cool black plug with the Delrin ring. So we're not gonna mess with that. Let's quickly do our hop up or our guide rod assembly real quick. And we're going for a really kind of speedy type build. We're doing a 4-3 guide rod and a 4-3 guide plug just so how it meshes up with the Poison slide. And I also chose to go for a Edge 130 spring, trying to test out some of these newer parts too. I've heard good things. So we're gonna do 3 buffers on this one. So we'll start with none, and then a washer, and then a heavy, or then a medium, then a washer, and a short, and a washer. And I've really enjoyed looking at your guys' feedback, and I love how flush these fit with the guide rod, so there's no movement or anything. And then having this 130 with this 4-3 plug is gonna be really good. Oh yeah, I mean that is super snappy, just feeling. So I'll put this away. We'll do the hop up assembly, which is completely aftermarket, and then we will get into the blowback unit and then put it all together. So the hop-up unit system is completely aftermarket, and again, I do recommend, I think I've pointed this out before, I love the AIP hop-up units, and we are doing a AIP aluminum one. And let me take all this out of the packaging and we will be right back. Alright guys, we are back. So we are doing an AIP hop-up unit, the flat hop bucking from ECS Custom Works over in Italy. And we are the main distributors, so we brand them as our buckings. And we are doing a 519 ball 600 barrel, my favorite on the market for sure. Actually some news on some new outer barrels that we are partnering up with coming soon. So I've just lined this up here, and now we will do the hop-up unit part. And I have seen, basically depends on the hop-up unit and a bunch of different factors on the bucking, but sometimes the bucking can need a little extra hop. So if you're running our flat hop bucking with like a stock blowback or a stock hop-up unit, I recommend getting an I-key, or what I love is these 9-ball 540 wheels. And what these are is they have 540 degrees of rotation, so you can really dial it in and get a lot more hop and a lot more range of hop than you normally would be able to. So again, highly recommend those, and that's what we are going to be putting in this AIP aluminum shell. And I think this is kind of my philosophy on the whole 1911 stick here. I really like it, and it sticks in your guide rod and it gives it a really nice and stable feel. I personally just don't run it because I feel like it's better for accuracy builds, but at times it can almost hinder your cycle a little bit. It's so minute that it really doesn't matter, and it's more personal preference if you like it or not. I may run it with it and try it, but typically I just go without it since I'm more speed oriented. But I think the rod really does help stabilize everything, or having this in the rod does help stabilize everything and make it just a little bit better of a consistent cycle, but it may not be quite as fast, is kind of my understanding. Hey guys, we are back. So we are going to now assemble the hop-up unit. So I will quickly put the bucking and barrel combo right in its slot. I really love these AIP hop-up units. They do a great job of really just, I mean, they're great durability wise. They fit a wide range of parts, and I really like the aluminum construction. It's light. I think the brass is still my favorite, and we actually have our own in the works, but the AIP, especially with the brass being out of stock recently, I think is definitely the way to go, and I love it with the 9-ball wheel as well. So I will quickly put this back together here. And the theme of this build is kind of a purple and bluish build with a black outer base. I think if and when I keep this build, I'm going to put one of our black frames on it, and maybe a black aluminum grip too. We'll see. We're in the phases of developing that right now. And I did a bunch of the Zanshin parts, I think I'm pronouncing that correctly, that kind of color shift between purple and blue depending on the light level. And so they look really cool. I love this 9-ball bucking. It really, or the 9-ball wheel, it really just meshes well with this hop-up unit. So again, highly recommend if and when you do pick one of these up to pair it with this wheel, because I think it works much better than the stock one even. So I went ahead and shaved down this part a little bit just so it would fit with the slide a bit better. You can't even see this part, but it allows this whole section to fit a lot more flush with the slide because the 9-ball dimensions are just a little bit off. But yeah, basically we will put this in and I will get a little bit, love how that fits there. Nice fitment from 9-ball. And yeah, I will now screw these screws in. I really wish they didn't have these screws. I'm not a fan. I think I've been over this quite a few times, but they don't work as well as the standard hop-up internal parts, but they are what they are, and it'll work fine as long as you tighten them down pretty good and don't adjust a whole lot. So I will quickly screw these in. Our barrels, I know you guys have been asking because you've had to deal with either no barrel. I mean, Unisoft has some, but the quality difference there is pretty significant. But our barrels are on the way. They are being made right now, and they will be at a cheaper price point, a different and better finish. It'll be the same color spectrum and same color matching, but it'll be a shiny finish like our slides are, and I think you guys are gonna like that even more. And we adjusted the top hop part. This is a straight barrel, which is pretty cheap, honestly, like cheap looking. It's not with the special lugs or anything. Very easy to manufacture this type. But ours has a decreased kind of face back here so that it won't rub on the slide at all, which was kind of a problem that we had with some AM slides from batch 1. But that should all be fixed going forward now, and we are very excited to bring you guys version 2 and do it a lot bigger and better than we did previously. So both screws are in, very tightened up, and we got some Loctite on them. So now let me get the blowback unit parts and we will do that. Alright, so we are back, and I have made the executive decision that I'm going to actually do 4 short strokes instead of 3, and I like to switch it up a little bit. If I do 4, I like to do the hard, the washer, soft washer, soft washer, then hard washer again. And the reason why is, one, I really want this to be super speedy, and the poison slide with this lightweight blowback unit setup is already going to be super light. Plus, I'm going to test out these Battle Flare 180 springs. I've really been a fan thus far from everything I've seen, and I highly recommend these springs, and we're the only ones, we're the exclusive distributor in the US of these. Battle Flare is located over in Europe and is making some really good stuff. So we're going to try out these 180 springs and really kind of put them to their test with a super short stroke gun and see if it can still cycle and keep up just as well. And for the nozzle, I really just picked this because, one, I wanted to do a lightweight short stroke build, so I'm going to try the Edge short stroke nozzle. But I also wanted to match the blue color scheme a little bit and give this Edge nozzle a try because I haven't tried it too much. So this is a bit of an experiment build as well, to kind of try some different parts that I don't typically use as much. Of course, everything is kind of going to the LA Capa parts anyway in the future, but I wanted to give a test to some of these products that I haven't used quite as much as others. Okay guys, so now we are going to do a little bit of O-ring testing. I'm not sure where one of the O-rings went actually. I don't know if just 2 were included in this bag by mistake, or if I probably just left one somewhere. That's pretty good. Let's see if we can get anything a little better. Our blowback units are on the way. They're in production. We had some huge delays on them, had to switch factories, but they are finally kind of getting done here. Speaking of our products coming this May, we have triggers, we have grip screws, we have new mag wells, we have new slides. Yeah, I'm kind of rocking with this. Let's go with this one. I think this is the medium one, or maybe, yeah, I think it is the medium one for reference here. But yeah, so we are making a ton of stuff. We have our frames that I'm so excited for. I've been working on these for 8 months, so we are really trying to do our due diligence and only make and produce the best of the best here. But those are almost done, which is very exciting for me. We'll get out our Loctite again and Loctite the screw on. But we have new slides coming this summer as well. I mean, we just had the Poison release, which you see right here. We have the 4-3 Conqueror coming out, and then we're already in production of our other one that's going to come out probably early July, and I think you guys are going to really like it. It's a little bit of a cat theme, that's all I'm going to say. But yeah, I think y'all are going to really like it. We have a lot of products coming, like I said, and it's really going to kind of be an LA Capa part takeover. I'm hoping to have everything, kind of everything machinable for High Capa made by the end of the summer. So that's kind of the goal I set for myself. Let's try to get there. And thank you guys for the incredible support. You're always selling us out of the products that we make and just supporting us so much in general, and I truly and deeply appreciate it. And please continue the loving support. So here's the nozzle, here's the blowback unit. As you can see, I mean this nozzle really is long and it's beefy. So we're gonna put it in the Poison. I love the Poison slide because you don't have to worry about the fibers or anything. And you just kind of gotta line up the nozzle spring in there and then it'll sit fine. It's sitting a bit rough just because it's so long, but once I line it up and push it all together, it will be fine. Perfect. And we overcompensate a little bit on our blowback unit area, like keep the cuts a bit more open than some of the other brands, because AIP, for example, and the stock TM one have very big cuts compared to some of the other ones. So we wanted to be universal for the ones like Cow and Edge. It does leave a little bit more space, but again, it works with all of them, and we would much rather that than have some have to have fitment. So look at that. Look at how cool that looks there. The blowback unit section, if we can focus, very nice, super snappy. And yeah, on this Poison slide, it looks very good. So let's go ahead and put the rest of the upper together. We'll slide in that Zancian barrel, and we will put in our hop-up, or our guide rod set. And looky there. Beautiful. Look at how cool that slide looks, the matching blues, that purple and blue barrel. Super sick. I think I'm going to do all green. Nah, I'll do green rear and red front, so I'll do that quickly and kind of make a little montage of me doing that. And I think I've decided just while I was doing this that we're going to call this build the VOODOO build, or the Shapeshifter build. Probably the VOODOO build. I kind of like that name to it and that ring to it. And I think it just matches because the kind of color changing, and then the Poison slide itself kind of playing on that voodoo magic type vibes. Also, another thing I'll point out is look at how red and vibrant this fiber is in the front here, and we did that on purpose. We really were kind of particular with everything we chose here, and we didn't want to take anything for granted. So this fiber, we're going to start selling it as a separate kit too, for those of you that just want fiber optics and are going to start making fiber optic sights here shortly. But yeah, this fiber is the most red fiber we could find. And I prefer these a lot more to the pink ones that you kind of see all over the airsoft world that are just a bit cheaper and a bit more easy to make and universal. But we didn't take anything lightly, like I said, and really wanted to provide the best of the best for you guys. So here is the full upper. Let me put this away. And as you can see, it looks really good here. Look at that. Very cool. Cannot wait to get the lower on this thing. Alright guys, we are back, and we are going to do all of these pieces basically, and just gonna kind of work across the board here. So I think in this video you'll see mostly blue, because I was playing around with this color shifting stuff from 9-ball, and it's more of the higher the light, the more blue it gets, and then like low light, like if you look under this kind of mat where the shadow is here, it's purple, which I think is super cool. You can create some really cool shots, play with light, and just have a really cool kind of shifting build just as you look at it, which I think is awesome. The only things that I think I'm gonna change, obviously, are the frame. I already said that. I think I'm gonna change these grip screws out eventually too when we get our grip screws in, for some blue ones, just to kind of have everything match a bit better. So I think I'm gonna have our blue screws in. And then I quickly wanted to show you guys, for those that are watching the videos, the hammers we are making. So these are not final, but it's similar to 9-ball, but I think we have kind of a cooler style personally. Again, we're changing the design a bit, but ours is a bit more cut in the back, as you can see. Really cool style of hammers, and we're each I'm going to put this in there, but we're also testing ours, and these are made of aluminum, so these will have 12 different colors available, the 10 plus the 2 heat gradations. So you're going to have a lot more options when it comes to hammer color and really be able to match that. And like I said, those are in prototyping right now, and we will be starting production soon. But for this build, for now, I'm going to go with a black hexa hammer. I love the way it feels in the build, and I also love the style of it as well. And we are also going to replace our safety for this one-sided safety from 9-ball. It's a super low profile safety. I got it more for the looks than anything, but it's like a 4-3 safety, so it's only the left side. Hey guys, I am back. So I just went ahead and saved us a bunch of time by doing the hammer and the trigger. I just got a spare trigger bar, the stock one, and put on this hammer, or on this trigger really quickly. And then I got this hammer here all done. So I'll just put this on, move it back in place, and we should be good to just put it back together here. Super excited for our frames. Should be coming mid-June for the first 100 people that order. Sound like one of those commercials. First 100 people can get, you know, whatever. But yes, first 100 should be done early June. We'll be putting it up probably first week of May, so by the time you see this video, it'll probably be coming out shortly after. And I highly recommend scooping them up, because again, these very limited run, and especially if you want one of the first batch. We have a second batch that'll be coming about a month later, maybe 2 or 3 weeks later, we'll see. But if you want to get it first and, you know, hear the fastest, be sure to order very soon once they go live, probably the first week of May. And the best way to stay up to date on that is through our Instagram. And we may start sending out some emails as well, but Instagram is kind of our main platform at the moment. So I put the screw back on, everything sits nicely. Love the hexa hammer, and it just is such a good drop in, and that's kind of what we based our hammer on a little bit, internal wise and design wise. I'll just put in the safety here, pull back the detent, and it clicks right in. Very cool kind of low profile look there, and I like the purple accent on it too. And you don't have to worry about this safety like coming loose or anything. It's just all one piece, which I really like. We'll put that aside for a second. Let me open up this grip. First time you do it, it's always a bit rougher than the rest once you kind of loosen it up. But we are going to be switching this out to an O2 magwell by Edge. So I'll loop this up just a little bit. And I think it really kind of matches the black slide nicely. And I like the aggressive cut. We're going for kind of an aggressive speed build, so I thought it matched well. First, I know I have pieces everywhere, but I'm going to try to keep this organized where I am. So let me go ahead and first change this hammer spring. So what we're going to do for this is use the cow, and I'll show you my setup. Again, I highly recommend this. You can get way shorter or lighter of a trigger pull than you would be able to normally. So don't use this bottom part. I've only had it cause problems, so don't use that little bottom piece in there. And I use the gold spring, so we'll put the other 2 pieces away. But I do use the aftermarket topper just because it's a bit more durable. So what I like to do is put in a couple of each, and I think I'm gonna opt for, oops, some of them fell here. I think I'm gonna opt for 3 of the copper and 2 of the steel ones, and I'll just alternate them. Again, this does not really matter, it's all about spacing, so the actual placement doesn't matter too much. And you have to make sure these are flush, especially since there's no bottom part. The bottom part can just cause problems with the spring, but make sure they're flush and then push them down, you know, with something, make sure they're sitting properly. And I'll push this down and that looks like it'll be fine. Again, it's one of those things kind of like the trigger bar adjusting, which the 9-ball does not have. This trigger does not have any trigger bar adjusting, which I don't like about it, but overall matched the theme, so that's why I went for it. But yes, the gold is, or this hammer spring is kind of one of those things you kind of test and repeat until you find a good setup that works for your build. So what we can do now is take apart most of this stuff, and I'll put some of this stuff to the side, put the safeties to the side, we can put this to the side. I will open up the mag catch here. This is getting swapped out as well, but weirdly enough, you have to have the spring part of the stock mag catch for the 9-ball ones. Not sure why they didn't just include that on their own, but whatever, not a big deal to switch out. So you simply just push this in and rotate it, and it'll just come out. And then you can just put the internal system into the 9-ball one. And it is pretty much a drop-in. Sweet. That's all you gotta do. We'll undo this part so we can get it on. Perfect. So, let's see here. We'll take out the trigger and just swap it out for this trigger. Let's hope there's no fitment. Nope, it is a drop-in. Perfect, always love to see that, and it's pretty tight too, which is just an added bonus. I prefer triggers that are tight and then you have to do fitment, but if it's close, which is what we're doing, we're designing ours to be basically close and there shouldn't need to be fitment, but it's not going to rattle around. Some of the edge triggers, for example, they'll rattle around because they're just a bit too loose almost. So we designed ours to fit kind of like AIPs, but a little bit looser, on the looser side than AIP, because AIP you almost always have to do fitment with to get to work. But again, it fits really snug and nice, just like the stock one does. And I'm really excited to release those and kind of get more of our whole color spectrum available to us. I'm gonna move this down one rotation just because of how my hand sits on it, being a lefty. I can always take it off if I want to, but yeah, we'll wear it in just a little bit by pushing it. Now I'll rotate this hammer up, and you can do that just by pushing on the disconnector a bunch and kind of just rattling it all around. And that's how you can install the upper back. We'll put in our trident, which I've had it kind of be a little tight in the back here lately, but it works fine once you get it in. And line everything up on top. Trident fill out, and we'll put in the trident above the sear and disconnector so that it all sits above, so the disconnector sits above the sear and above the disconnector part, and now the sear spring is good to go. So now before you put on the bottom, you got to put back in your grip screws, which I think it's fine for this build. It's a little bit, haven't kind of decided on a final name, but kind of going for something like either Midnight Moonlight, something like that, maybe a voodoo build with the poison and then the color shifting, kind of like that kind of vibe too. But it does kind of give me a kind of midnight, kind of dark dreamy night type of vibe too, so we'll see. Let me put in the grip and frame screw really quick, and then we can finish this build off. Awesome. So now, lastly, we will put in the hammer spring, the magwell, and the magwell pin all together here. Perfect. On our magwells, we did have a little fitting issue, but we fixed it on our new design, the Guardian. And the Guardian magwell should be coming in around, I want to say, late May, mid-May. So be on the lookout for that. Look at this lower. Love these pieces. Love this aggressive little look here. Kind of the flared back too, which is kind of a cool look. And now it's time for the magic. Let's lube everything up with Waldo. The Poison slides fit a bit tighter than the Conqueror slides for anybody that has the Conqueror. So we did change the slide rails fitting a little bit tighter and nicer. And even more so for the 4.3 Conquerors, we made them even a little tighter up and down, but the side we changed or stayed the same. So now, as you can see, it's a bit tight, but it creates a really nice fit, so that once you get it on and wear it in, over time, which looks like this one just kind of by the fitment, yeah, it kind of looks like we may need a little bit of fitting. So I will probably do that off camera here, just pushing on the slide, filing down a little bit if needed, and then once we get everything in, hand racking it a bunch so that it gets really nice and crisp. And then once that happens, I would much rather this happen than have it be too loose, because you can't fix too loose, but you can fix too tight. So I will be doing some fitment to this. Maybe we'll make a little montage of me doing that, and then we will be ready for the final look of the build. Hey guys, so I'm back. That was super quick. I literally just did slight filing to each side of this rear TM part. It looked like it was just a little burred up a little bit, and that was all it took, just very little amount, and now it works perfectly. So let me go ahead and put the hop-up system back on and the guide rod system. And we will put this thing finally together. Love the Zanshin combo. I think most of our stuff already sold out, unfortunately, of it. We're getting a few parts in. Yes, that's pretty tight. We'll even see if that's able to blow back. It may be too short stroked. I think I'm going to take off one of the short strokes actually, just for reassurance, because that Delrin ring, I kind of forgot about this part. The Delrin ring actually adds a bit of short stroke itself. This plug in there adds a little bit of short stroke itself, so I don't want it to be too much and it's not going to lock back, and that looks like that was going to be the case with the whole setup. So I'll switch back to 3, but again, I think you could easily do 4 without that plug, or maybe even with that plug. I just want to play it a little bit safe, especially with this 130 spring and the plug. I don't want it to be too much. So I'll put it back. It looks like it's going to require some hand racking to kind of get it all in there and nice. So I'll put a little bit more lube and just kind of do a little montage of me working it in, and then we'll shoot it. Alright guys, so I just did a bunch of racking, and again, it wasn't like super tight or anything now that we did a little bit of shaving, but you want to shave it to where it'll go on nicely, and then you can just hand rack it the rest of the way a couple hundred times, and it will be all good to go. So I'll wipe off a little bit of the excess lube that got on the slide and the frame build. Man, I cannot wait to have a LA Capa frame on this build. So I will put it together here. And let me slide it on. There we go. And look at that. We'll put on this Zanshin slide catch and top it off. Let's see, it should fit. Yep. And that is the build. Really cool. I mean, just looks incredible here. We got that 22 on the etching whenever you rack it back. And I mean, just look at all that nice color. Super cool build. I'm sure you could take some really cool pictures of this as well. Yeah, I really love how this turned out. Let us know what you think. Remember, you can get all of your parts here at LA Capa Customs on our website. We have the widest range of selection on high Capa parts and the best prices on them as well. We also have our own products like this Poison slide, the short stroke kits in here, the guide rods in here, the guide plug that's in here, and a ton of other stuff that's on the way. Let us know what you think and what you want us to build next. We have a lot of Poison pre-builds on the way. And this has been Sutton. Thank you guys very much, and we will see you in the next one. Hey guys, so just want to be transparent with you guys. So I basically after this I was going to do a shooting test. I just don't like the way that the Edge short stroke nozzle feels, really. I love the standard one. I just put it in here. I switched it out for a standard. The standard works really well. I think the ultralight one, or the short stroke one, works really nice for the ultralight blowback unit, but personally I like the full blowback unit, and I think it feels more crisp and snappy personally. And I also added a couple more washers to the hammer spring just to give it a little stronger and crisper of a feel. But overall, I mean, this is way lighter than you can get anywhere else. And I mean, look at that trigger travel as well. I mean, super light before activation here. Perfect. So let me get a shooting test for you guys. Look at this. Alright. That will wrap it up for this video. Thanks, guys.